On this episode, I'm doing something different because I don't normally cover TV movies and certainly not Lifetime movies, but these ones are something else, and it's the Stalked by My Doctor series, otherwise known as the Dr. Beck franchise. And this one is pretty much like for our friend Maddie Mastrella, but I think that you'll see some other surprises in here. So let's take a look to see if this makes sense or if we have a little continuity malpractice. This all started on Lifetime back in 2015 with Stalked by My Doctor, and right away we get Sal Maroni, and his phone rings and hey, wait a second. Phoebe? Who is this Phoebe? Is there something I should know?
I mean, why would I use my real name on a dating app?
And yeah, it's not too often I get to put my wife's name up on this screen, so here it is. So we have Sophie here, and she gets accepted into college, and her boyfriend texts while driving, so they get into a wreck. Meanwhile, Dr. Beck is looking for love and checks out girls in their 30s, 20s, and I don't know, maybe shoot more for your age range, man. Like Roberts was just around 60 when they made this. Beck operates on Sophie and I guess falls in love with her, a high school girl about to enter college, and makes out with her while she's sedated right before calling in her parents. Beck gets a bit crazy by proposing to a girl on the first date, and when she turns him down to say that he's coming on too strong, he takes it very well.
Thank you for the enlightened analysis, you fat ass bitch. I'm unfriending you.
Amazing. Mom gets suspicious when Sophie gets released, and there's a bunch of trophies here, but they're for different people. Like one is for Will Davis, another is for Connor Roth, like one is from 1998, but I think that they're all supposed to be for Ryan here, who was probably like 2 or 3 in 98, so I'm not sure what lacrosse league that he would have been in at that time, although I would watch that game in a heartbeat. And hey, wait a minute, that trophy is from East Falls High. So what, did this movie get that prop from the American Pie garage sale? Like, clearly someone wasn't as concise with the props as someone else was with the costumes. When Sophie's boyfriend gives her the cold shoulder, she just shows up at her doctor's house, you know, as you do. But it's just a dream. And he starts to follow her and buys them cake and hands her a $50 bill.
Wow, I'll be right back.
Yeah, never seen a bill this big before. Whoa. She turns him down, which gets this reaction.
I am a doctor! I am a doctor! I'm a doctor!
So then he goes and breaks into her house and wait, sniffs her doll's clothes, and then, and I'm not making this up, gets into her bed and balls up her pillows on his crotch and takes a little nappy poo. Beck sabotages Sophie and Ryan, so he confronts him, ramping things up, so he buys her a doll, which she then turns down, leading to this.
Cheers. Nobody cheers. Nobody cheers.
And he accesses Mom's files, and it shows the date as May 17th, 2015. So that's our year. And she was born in September of 1973, so Mom is 41 here, and was hospitalized back in 08. And finally, Beck just says screw it, and fakes Sophie's death, and kidnaps her. We see that he got her a passport, which was issued on April 6th of 2015, and we see there that Sophie has just turned 18, although this was issued literally 3 days after her birthday, which means she was underage when he was first having his little fantasies about her. And again, this guy is around 60, which is, I believe, a little older than even me. When showing how he did it we're shown her dental records, and it's from May 5th, which I'm not sure if it's supposed to be from her death, or did they do a dental record from her surgery? If it's from her death, then we went back in time.
Well, Josh, I think you missed a date here. This puts her birthday at 1993, which is 4 years prior, making her a 22-year-old high school student?
The family suspects, but the dad is just like super hardcore against it and has kind of been defending the doc through the whole movie, which is kind of hilarious. And when Sophie tries to escape, he threatens to remove her arms and legs and tongue. She manages to escape though and reappears at her own funeral. The police come for him, so Beck flees to Mexico. 1 year later, the doctor returned in 2016's Stalked by My Doctor, the return, and look at that, it's still on it. Beck is still on the run, still in Mexico, although this is definitely in Los Angeles, and it's where that Blink-182 video was. He helps a girl who almost drowns with my favorite CPR interpretation ever. He immediately fixates on her, and yep, he's still nuts and wants to date the mom to get closer to Amy.
Nobody understands.
So he heads back to the US and follows her, sitting outside her school, and when her boyfriend confronts him for seeing him out there for the last couple of days, he just plays it up like, oh, I just wanted to stay in touch. And everyone is okay with that. A guy you met in Mexico followed you home and sat outside of your high school for a few days just watching you, but I guess that's cool. Linda's husband died in an accident and he works with her, and they go to an American beach, which, looks suspiciously like the one that they were at in Mexico. Because it is. He poisons her, and to show you how obsessive this guy is, he took the time to make pancakes, and he made the cakes to spell out her name. There's a blood sample here that's dated August of 2016, so it looks like we're a little over a year later in this one and still in real time. But then there's this blood test that has Amy's date of birth as 1982, so she's 34 and still in high school? But this test was also ordered in 2010, so maybe it's all just wrong. Because it's a fake test to make her think that she has an STD. And they go to this bridge that's close to where I live, and I love this bridge, but it's kind of sad that they had to put up these fences on the sides to keep people from killing themselves off of it. Amy starts to get suspicious, but her mom won't believe her, but he just keeps on daydreaming like a creepy Walter Mitty.
Victor, what the hell are you doing?
He is so good, Mother.
And Beck and Linda decide to get married, so Amy calls up her Uncle Roger, who figures some truths about him, and a voicemail telling her says that it's actually March 16th, 2016, which is earlier than that blood test, but I guess it's still in 16, so Beck decides to kill him, showing off his unique fighting style.
Where you go? There's something you need to know.
Wait.
He kills him and then melts his body in the bathtub with acid, and they are wed. He's found out, but nope, just crazy. Garth finds out that he doesn't have an STD.
Like it's formatted on the page in a way she's never seen before.
You're telling me the birth date is listed as 1964045. I suppose that could be a wording of April 25th, 1964, but it says the same exact number for your age. But oh, you mean her paper, which still shows her birth year as 82. On their honeymoon, he plans to kill Linda, but Amy shows up. Together, they knock him out and he's arrested and taken to jail, where he finds a new infatuation. 2 years later, in 2018, the saga continued with Stalked by My Doctor, Patience Revenge. And hey, Sophie's back.
Yeah, and I think it's time for me to jump off this crazy train. Have fun.
And they say that it's been 2 years since her encounter with Beck. So it looks like that we'd be in 2017 here. And she's mad because Beck got away with it, because we see that he was somehow able to work one of the jurors into convincing the rest of them, so he got off scot-free. And he has a new lady friend, but when she gets freaked out after finding out his past, he then teleports downstairs. But then he's also seeing doubles. Seriously, how did he beat her downstairs? And man, he's back giving lectures and all. He's just back to his old life, still daydreaming. And he finds a new target in Melissa here. But it seems like someone is messing with the doc, sending him messages and tampering with his presentations, and he soon figures out that it's Sophie. She hires some dudes to beat him up, and Melissa seems kinda into him, and Hawaiian shirt Beck chides him. And then, wait, what? I'm not joking here. It becomes a musical.
You and I fit together like a hand in glove. It's too bad for me, too bad for you. We're not the kind of people who fall in love.
Yes, Beck and Melissa have a La La Land style song and dance number above the city. He poisons Sophie, claiming she's on fentanyl, and no one puts together that he's the guy who kidnapped her, and everyone's just like, nothing weird here, I guess. Beck and Melissa get closer, and she reveals that she likes older men, and she even sees that he's nuts and has a picture of her by his bed, but goes for him anyway. Soph attacks him and ties him up and threatens to castrate him like they've fallen into hard candy or something, but Melissa saves him, and together they make a plan to kill her. Melissa shoots her, creating this extremely convincing car explosion, and they report on Sophie's death and aren't like this girl burned to death in a car again.
At your trial, didn't Sophie Green say that you tried to fake her death by setting her car on fire?
Like, how is that like something he's not heard of? It was on the news. She walked back into her own funeral. But when it appears as if Melissa has also been held captive, Beck doesn't know if he did it or not. Is he crazy? The news says that Sophie is 20 years old, backing up the whole 2-year thing, and it turns out that Melissa and Sophie have been in cahoots the entire time, and this has all been an elaborate ruse to nail the doc. He gets the better of them and straps them down and plans to swap their hearts and thinks this will make them both love him, but Melissa gets loose and beats him up, but he gets away anyway. Sophie's plan is exposed and he leaves behind his alter ego and escapes. 1 year later, 2019 gave us Stalked by My Doctor, a sleepwalker's nightmare, with a new writer/director taking over. And this woman sleepwalks into a wedding and kisses the groom and goes viral. And then, oh boy, Beck is working at a diner as a busboy. There's a close-up of a license plate with a registration that expires in June of 19, so we're either in late 18 or early 19, so we're at least 1 year after the last one, and maybe 2. He kills a doctor and assumes his identity and heads to New Mexico, where he's greeted by Angela. It's a sleep study clinic, and he's assigned to Shelley, who is diagnosed with sexomnia, which is like a snoozing booty call. And here's the thing, this character had previously appeared back in 2017 in another movie called Sleepwalking in Suburbia. So this is officially some sort of Lifetime crossover film. There's a news report of the events of that film dated as 2017, and his alter ego is back. And she starts to sleepwalk, so Beck gets excited and wants to try to bone her, and she has a niece named Katie. She is also a sleepwalker, but she's not about sex, she's just highly suggestible. And when her boyfriend's friend used that to seduce her, her boyfriend dumps her. This whole time, Beck is just outside, listening, but I guess no one notices him. Since Katie's closer to being underage, Beck decides to go after her and starts following her around. Meanwhile, Sleep Shelley gets a bit aggressive, like she's in Pontypool or something, and Katie gets Beck aroused enough to do this.
Oh, you're tall. I like your hair. Want to make love? Yes. Yeah, that's good. You're done. Get off. Okay, who's next? You must be Leo, the empty glass. Yes, I am. Hey, Leo, let's kiss. Harder.
That night, he uses her suggestions to kill her boyfriend, making only his second kill of the series, and when Pamela gets suspicious, she gets a picture of Dr. Tanner emailed to her, and her email seems to say that we're set on March 2nd here. So for that license plate to be valid, this would be March of 2019, and we're 2 years after the third movie. She figures it out, so he kills her, and yeah, he's a full-blown slasher now, going over the edge and hitting his head against walls. Pamela's phone shows that it's actually Monday, March 4th, I guess, which does line up with 2019, so that works, and he sets up Shelley as the killer. She's locked up, and one of the caretakers might have a hearing aid that'll blow up his head, and when they try to take advantage of her condition, she escapes. He then realizes that his other patient, Nikki Bismar, is just another alter ego, like his bad side, and there's a face-off at the house. Katie breaks her sleep programming, and they knock out Beck, and he's institutionalized. We close out in 2021 with just what the doctor ordered, with news of a fire at the asylum and escaped prisoners, and this mother-daughter combo is moving into a new house after the father's death. However, it looks like someone else is already living there, and it's Dr. Beck peeping in on young Alexa and waking her up. She doesn't freak out and just listens to his story and then likes him because aha, they got you, it's just another daydream. But when Alex has a heart issue, Beck calls it in, and she's given a pacemaker. She has a rare condition and needs a heart transplant and a rare blood donor, so of course, he starts a stalking. He seems more stable now, by the way, and both of his imaginary friends are gone. He promises to get her a new heart and do the surgery himself, killing the doctor who is assigned to her. And she has a dummy, and I guarantee that thing comes back into play later, and he takes the doctor's place. And seriously, how is this guy not a criminal celebrity by now? He's been involved in 3 high-profile incidents in several cities, all of which have made the news, and then is part of a highly publicized asylum breakout. They established that people are aware of him, but I guess not enough? There's a phone app with Alex's info showing her birth date as 2002, so she's around 18 or 19. And just when you think that Eric Roberts is gonna kind of go more subtle with this one,
You liar! Liar, liar, liar! I brought all the flowers!
we see Alex's medical record, which repeats her 02 birth date and shows that her insurance expires in November of 2020. So we're set before that. So this is either later in 19 or early 2020. Mom starts to put it all together while Beck tries to find a suitable heart donor. And we see an article about the fire at the asylum dated August 4th. But then there's an update saying there's inmates unaccounted for dated July 27th, so I guess this article came first? He drugs Scott because he wants to use his heart and reveals to Alex that he's the one who saved her. And oh yeah, I forgot that one of the people Beck was going to kill was a cop he went on a blind date with. A cop in the area of the asylum where they're looking for inmates that escaped, and she didn't know what he looked like and went on a date with him. Worst cop ever. Scott narrowly escapes being scalpeled, and a tussle with the cop leads to a shot being fired and Beck escaping. He comes back to give her the transplant supplied by the dead cop. His alter ego then reappears and he gets away, so maybe part 6 is coming soon. So as to whether this is 19 or 20, I'm saying early August 2020, but in a universe that didn't have COVID, and he was in that asylum for a year. So there you have it, 5 movies, 2 of which had people that were really well dressed in it. And yeah, actually a solid amount of continuity. These actually all work together and they seem to have the dates pretty much figured out. There's not a lot of continuity blunders in the Stalked by My Doctor series. Go figure. But yeah, it's actually pretty insane and I get such a kick out of these. I mean, obviously I have somewhat of a personal preference for them based upon having an attachment for them and actually watching parts of them being filmed. But yeah, they're fun as can be. They're pretty silly. They're probably the pinnacle of Lifetime's wackiness. But if you've seen these, or if I've interested you in seeing these, let me know down below in the comments. They're pretty wild. I would recommend checking them out. Tell me in the comments below if you've seen them. Of course, if you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you see here, and also please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/movietimelines. You can help support this channel like these guys do. I'd appreciate that, and I also appreciate you just watching these videos. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you very shortly for another great one. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.